We started our trip on June 25 at 2:30 a.m. and rode the bus from Viron Transit Cubao to San Juan La Union for 612 pesos each. We arrived around 8:30 a.m. and went straight to our hostel in the city proper at Virtud Foundation. So our plan for day 1 was to visit 2 tourist attractions in San Gabriel, Dupagan Falls and Tangadan Falls. Around 9 a.m. we messaged our tour guide to fetch us from the hostel by Habal. We paid 150 pesos each for the ride going to the municipal hall and then later back to our hotel. 50 pesos each for the environmental fee. We decided to go to Dupagan Falls first since it was around 1 hour away from the municipal hall. For the tour, we paid 700 pesos for the tour guide and 400 each for the motor fee. We also paid another 25 pesos each for the Dupagan environmental fee. So from the drop-off point, we trekked for 10 to 15 minutes and luckily when we arrived, there was no one else there. As in, we had the whole place to ourselves. And then by 12 p.m. we decided to eat somewhere along the way to Tangadan Falls because our legs were already shaking from the trek going up and down Dupagan. We spent a total of 350 pesos, good for 4 people already. At 1 p.m. we arrived at the Tangadan Falls drop-off point and here we go again, another 20 to 30 minute trek depending on your pace. This one felt steeper compared to Dupagan, so prepare your legs, guys. So for this tour, we paid another 700 pesos for the tour guide fee and 400 each for the habal fee. After the trek and the whole tour, we decided to go back to our hostel by 2 p.m. so we could rest and still catch the sunset later. Then at 5 p.m., we rode a tricycle to the Great Northwest for 100 pesos and took photo booth pictures at Photomatic for 200 pesos. Then we stayed there na lang to watch the sunset. Since it started raining, we walked to the Likan for dinner. Katapat lang siya ng tavern by the sea and tried their bagnet kare-kare for 389, good for 2. Then around 7:30 p.m., we rode the tricycle back to our hostel for another 100 pesos. So for day 1, we spent around 5,813 pesos for 2 people, excluding our hotel which costs 1,600 pesos for 1 night plus the 500 peso early check-in fee. So if we would add it up, we spent a total of 7,913 on day 1. For day 2 naman, we started with breakfast at one of my favorites, Masa Bakehouse at 8 a.m. Since we were nearby, we only paid 40 pesos for the tricycle. We ordered morning beef for 280 pesos, breakfast burger for 250 pesos, iced choco for 130 pesos, and special latte for 180 pesos. And then after breakfast, we rode the tricycle for 100 pesos to the side of Tao Beach so we wouldn't have to pay an entrance fee. We just discovered an eskinita going to Ilinorte Beach. And then, yeah, we found a quiet spot under a tree, took photos, and just enjoyed the morning before checking out. We rode back to the hostel for another 100 pesos, checked out at 12 p.m. and then headed to 7-Eleven or Bees by tricycle for 100 pesos because may nakapagsabi na may dumadaan daw bus going to Baguio from there. But when we got there, we were told na we had to go to San Fernando Terminal, so we paid 150 pesos for another tricycle ride. And then when we arrived at Partas Terminal, there was already a bus leaving for Baguio. The fare was only 135 each, which honestly surprised me because it was so cheap. We left around 1:30 p.m. and arrived in Baguio at around 4 p.m. And then rode a taxi to Aura One Hotel along Remando Road for 72 pesos. We booked our hotel through Agoda for 3,700 pesos for 3 days and 2 nights. At 5:30 p.m., we got ready for an early dinner at Chocolate de Batirol. We paid 125 pesos for the taxi going there and ordered their famous batirol, sinigang, inihaw na pusit, and rice for around 1,600 pesos. This was our first food splurge of the trip, so sabi namin, tipid muna tomorrow. We rode a taxi back to the hotel for 100 pesos. For day 2, we spent around 7,657 pesos for 2 people, including our hotel. So for part 1, our running total was around 15,570 pesos for 2 people. See you on part 2.